So guys, some of you may not recognize me, but I am actually left-handed demon. Like left-handed demon 227. So as you can see, like if I type in reacting to Ants Canada, yes, something will. But yeah, here, look. This is me. This is me. This one was when I was pretty small.
Hi guys, I'm reacting to Ants Canada, Trapjaw, Queen, and Lane, and amazing footage. So it's Ants Canada. Look, Ants Canada. I love this YouTube.
On this channel,
Look at him.
we witness some pretty remarkable things as we look closer into the lives of ants. But every now and then, we get lucky enough to get the opportunity to witness some exceptionally mind-blowing moments. What you will see in this video will definitely be one of such moments. Today we were super lucky to catch the queen of our brand new Trapjaw ant colony laying an egg.
So you may not be able to find a video of mine. Like you may not be able to find my channel if you just search for it. But if you can, this is my thing at Enderlord 2000. So let's better get into it. So I am going to be reacting to Ants Canada again. And yes. So I'm going to be reacting to this.
Oh no! AC family, they finally did it. My pet fire ants broke loose, and they're everywhere. We have a crisis on our hands. I feel this time I gravely underestimated the speed and ferocity of the Fire Nation, my massive, stinging, and aggressive colony of red tropical fire ants. And while attempting to rearrange their setup this week, they finally seized the opportunity and broke out, waging full-out war against me. It was clearly their moment to attack. You won't believe what I had to do to regain control and win this human versus ant war, all without harming my beloved pets. In this episode of the Ants Canada Ant Channel, we also take a tour of the new Fire Nation and finally get an amazing gaze at Her Royal Highness, the one and only Fire Ant Queen, who finally agreed to step out into the open for us for the first time over a year. You won't want to miss a single moment of ant action and discovery ahead, so keep on watching until the end of this video to witness the joys and challenges of keeping an aggressive ant species. Come with me and watch how a new ant city is built and what I do when I hit the panic button in this episode of the Ants Canada Ant Channel.
Hold up. There was something I forgot, guys. I forgot this, a camera. So yeah, for those of you who don't believe that I'm left-handed demon 27, here's the proof.
Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Welcome to the AC family.
But I changed them.
Enjoy. Kicking off from last week's video, where I connected a new formicarium to the Fire Nation setup and embarked on a search to see if the Queen Fire Ant had moved in, I personally didn't manage to spot her, but as expected, you guys totally did. I believe I full out shouted to myself in joy when many of you began posting the timestamp at this part of last week's video, where the Fire Ant Queen totally is seen momentarily dashing to another room, evading our camera. Thank you, AC family. You guys rock, and I love that I can rely on your sharp eyes. Although Her Royal Highness was a bit shy in last week's video, I am excited to announce that this week she allowed herself to be seen. But all of that coming up later. First, behold the old Fire Nation. I say old because this setup has been like this unchanged for many months. 8 months ago, we added their last addition to these ant territories, a Rubbermaid bin we called the Fire Palace. So, the Fire Nation hadn't acquired a new territory for 8 months. But finally, just 2 weeks ago, we gave the Fire Nation some new territory to claim their own. We gave them a brand new AC Hybrid Nest 2.0, our brand new flagship formicarium from AntsCanada.com. And boy, did they love the new space. In fact, what shocked me was that not only did the ants move into the new formicarium right away, but so did the queen. That says a lot. considering the fact that the queen chose to live in an ant farm over soil, like they would have had they been in nature. It also reminded me how important it is to always add new, fresh, and clean space to an ant colony setup, and remove old units periodically after several months. As we learned last week, ants naturally dig new tunnels and abandon old living space if their homes get dirty, and ants living in captivity are no exception to this requirement. So as much as I loved their old setup, I resolved to make a huge Fire Nation overhaul, removing some of their old territory and adding some new. For months, I had been preparing for this overhaul by drying up their AC outworlds so the ants would evacuate those areas, and I had a network of new tubing, as well as a second AC Hybrid Nest 2.0, ready for the fire ants to move in. So I put my gloves on. One of my goals for this overhaul was to make their setup cleaner and simpler to understand, rather than have a huge began pouring spaghetti of tubing. I separated the AC outworlds from the setup one by one, and threw disconnected tubes into the Fire Palace Rubbermaid bin. Ants began pouring out of the holes like crazy, despite my desperate attempts to block the tubes and openings. Perhaps an operation like this may have been easier with 2 people, or even 3. But I realized this way too late. As I continued to work on arranging the new setup, I began to realize that I had gravely underestimated the magnitude of work that had to be done, and also the power of the Fire Nation, and they began to attack my feet. Little did I know, the ants had jumped off the drawer top and were all over the floor, biting and stinging my feet. The pain was just excruciating. I tried to work quicker, brushing the ants off my feet as often as I could.
They sort of use them a couple. They're kind of like, why is this?
Finally, I went into panic mode. Usually when I'm disconnecting tubes like this, the few escapees are easily scooped up and thrown into their outworld. But I think due to the complexity of the disconnections in this operation, the ants were at a great advantage. There was no stopping them now, and they were pouring out of too many holes at this point. There were too many that escaped, and they were literally everywhere. I didn't have time to set up my camera to show you just how many ants had escaped, but trust me, they were all over the drawer, all over the floor, and all over my feet and legs, stinging me for trespassing on their territory. I don't blame the Fire Nation though, because to them, I was a huge giant enemy breaking into their home. I too would wage full-out war if some massive creature came tearing away at my country. My solution? The vacuum. Escaping ants is a very rare occurrence if your setup is correct and if you're wise when rearranging your setup. And in most cases, ant colonies take years to get this big, so situations like this are not common. But in the event that there is an ant escape such as this, I discussed in a previous tutorial video on this channel that an effective way to deal with escapes is to suck them up with a small handheld vacuum. I vacuumed the fire ants as quickly as I could. They were everywhere, so it took some time. Finally, after about 30 minutes of vacuuming, the situation was under control, and I dumped all sucked up ants into the Fire Palace. I had to do the dumping every 5 minutes though, because ants can dry up or overheat inside a vacuum for too long, which could kill them. I was left with battle scars all over my legs and arms. I will spare you the footage. But all that pain was worth it, AC family. Gate as well. Let's start here at the Fire Palace. Inside the Fire Palace, you'll see all the tubes from their old setup. The tubes are all cloudy and dirty from months and months of pheromone trails. I will give the ants a few more days to move out of the tubes before I finally remove them for cleaning and reuse. Exiting the Fire Palace, we have an ACL connector. All of our new poly tubing connectors at our shop are now 100% clear, so we can see more of the ants. Moving up the new and improved Geminetta Pass, we hit an ACX connector, which leads to Solenopsis Hill at 2 points. Speaking of which, It's amazing to see Solenopsis Hill still such a hit hangout after all these months. Let's travel down this tube first.
Okay.
Wow, look at that fire ant highway, guys. And look, it seems the ants are carrying a section of the head of a superworm into the nest. We're about to enter their main hybrid nest 2.0. But before we go in here, guess what, guys? We finally have a name for this new territory. Based on your votes from last week's video, AC Family, this new section of Fire Nation territory is officially called the Blaze Maze. Awesome. Opening it up, the Blaze Maze is as packed as ever. Look at all those ants. What an ant metropolis.
No, that's not time.
Let's scour the rooms and see if we can find the queen here. As you can see, we have so many ants, a ton of brood, and some awesome ant highways going on in here. They have truly called the Blaze Maze their home.